Imagine, if you will, this stunning set of jewels. Deep, captivating blue stones, the Cambridge Sapphire Parure.
Absolutely breathtaking. The kind of thing you see and immediately think royalty.
Exactly. It has this air of, timelessness, like it's always been part of the royal landscape, a constant.
And our source material mentions how it's really captured the imaginations of many. It feels iconic, almost unchanging.
But that's just the surface, isn't it? That's the hook.
Right. Because while it looks familiar, there's actually a much more complex human story behind it.
And that's where Jane Ridley's biography of King George V comes in. It offers these new insights, a deeper look.
Yeah, it lets us trace what the source calls the Parure's fascinating journey. It's not just about gems.
No, not at all. It's packed with, emotional ties, royal intrigue, and the fluctuating fortunes of the British monarchy. That's how the biography puts it.
It's a story of ambition, family dynamics, sometimes disappointment.
And the real challenges of trying to hold on to a legacy, especially a physical one like jewelry, across generations.
So today, that's our deep dive. We're going to follow the path of these sapphires, using the details from Ridley's research, specifically from the excerpts on the Cambridge Sapphire Parure's royal journey.
Our aim is really to unpack the crucial moments, understand what this Parure tells us about the people involved, and the institution itself.
Okay, so where do we start? The real beginning. That has to be Princess Augusta, the Duchess of Cambridge.
Yes. She's key. Why? Because she was Queen Mary's grandmother.
Ah, okay. So that direct family link is crucial for understanding how these sapphires eventually became so central to the British collection.
Precisely. She was the original owner. Whether she commissioned it or acquired it assembled, it starts with her.
And it wasn't something she just kept tucked away, right? The source mentions it played a role early on.
That's right. She actually gifted the Parure to her own daughter, who was also named Princess Augusta.
Okay, keeping track here. Grandmother Augusta gives it to daughter Augusta.
Exactly. And the occasion was her daughter's marriage to the Grand Duke of Mecklenburg-Strelitz.
So it travels out of Britain initially.
It does. But this gift is more than just a wedding present. It's really the first step in connecting these specific sapphires to the British royal line, even though, yes, it was through a daughter marrying into another European royal house.
Which was pretty standard practice back then, forging those cross-national family ties.
Absolutely. And think about the symbolism. Giving away such a significant set of jewels.
And it makes a statement. What kind of statement?
Well, the biography suggests these were seen as precious symbols of royal bonds, family history, and the enduring legacy of the British crown.
So even when it went to Mecklenburg-Strelitz, it carried that British royal weight with it, representing family continuity, that sort of thing.
Exactly, representing the interconnectedness of these powerful dynasties.
Right. Fast forward a bit, and we get to Queen Mary, a major figure in jewelry history.
Oh, definitely. Her insatiable passion for collecting jewelry, as the source calls it, is legendary.
And it sounds like it was more than just liking shiny things. What was driving that?
It really defined her public image in many ways. For Mary, collecting jewels was a very deliberate act. It was her way of connecting with the past, quite tangibly.
Like holding history in her hands.
Yes. Safeguarding family history, preserving what she saw as royal heritage. She aimed to create this lasting visual legacy.
Especially important, perhaps, as the monarchy's role was shifting. Those visual symbols became even more critical.
I think so. Maintaining that sense of historical continuity and grandeur. And this passion definitely extended towards her Aunt Augusta's collection.
The biography mentions a visit Queen Mary paid to her aunt in 1904. What was happening then?
Well, Queen Mary's uncle had recently passed away, so it was an opportunity, perhaps, to see what treasures her aunt possessed.
And her diary entry from that visit is quite revealing, isn't it?
It really is. She wrote, "What a lot of family things Aunt Augusta has. I'm going to help her make a catalog."
Help her make a catalog. Sounds helpful, but maybe with an ulterior motive.
You could certainly read it that way. It hints at her desire to identify and maybe, earmark significant pieces for the British crown. It's proactive.
Taking on the role of royal heritage curator, almost.
That's a good way to put it. And it wasn't just the sapphires on her mind around this time, was it?
No, the source mentioned some buckles too.
That's right. Just the year before, in 1903, she had actually managed to persuade her aunt to agree to leave some diamond and enamel buckles, which had belonged to King William IV and Queen Adelaide directly to the crown.
Ah, so she had a track record of success in securing historically significant items. That highlights her strategic approach.
Definitely. She clearly understood the difference between personal items and things with broader national importance. She had a vision for the royal collection.
So, given that success with the buckles, you'd think getting the sapphires would be simple once her aunt passed. But the will threw a wrench in the works.
It did. This is where things get a bit tricky. Princess Augusta did leave the sapphires to Queen Mary in her will, but
There was a condition.
a big one. It was explicitly stated, for my life only. Not outright ownership.
Ooh, that must have stung.
You can tell it did from her diary. She wrote quite plainly, "This one can scarcely accept." Real frustration there.
And she mentioned emeralds too.
Yes, she lamented about some glorious emerald brooches as well, calling it such a waste of jewels for this tiny place, referring to her aunt's home.
Wow. It shows her strong desire for permanent ownership, maybe feeling these jewels belonged in the main royal collection. A sense of duty, perhaps, mixed with personal desire.
I think that's right. She saw herself as the proper steward. So at this point, the sapphires are hers, but only for her lifetime. What happens next?
The next key moment is Princess Augusta's death in 1916. That's when the will's terms really came into effect.
Right, and this is where the historical record gets a little fuzzy, according to our source. How did Queen Mary end up with them permanently?
Yeah, the biography points out some uncertainty. It says, it is unknown whether Queen Mary inherited the sapphires outright from her cousins or if she later purchased them.
So we don't know the exact mechanism, direct inheritance from other heirs, or maybe she bought them later.
We don't. The specifics are lost, it seems. But the end result is clear.
The sapphires stayed in England. They became a permanent, treasured part of the British royal collection.
Which, however it happened, really speaks to Queen Mary's determination, doesn't it? Her long game paid off.
Absolutely. It cemented her reputation as this formidable collector. Passionate, yes, but also very effective.
The Cambridge sapphires became another major piece secured under her watch, ensuring they'd remain prominent.
So Queen Mary finally has them secured. Does she keep them just for herself, or do they continue their journey?
They continue their journey. In 1934, Queen Mary makes another significant move with the parure.
What does she do?
She decides to gift it. She gives the entire parure to Princess Marina of Greece and Denmark.
Upon her marriage to the Duke of Kent.
Exactly. And this wasn't just a casual wedding gift. It was loaded with meaning.
Why Princess Marina specifically? And what was the broader message?
Well, giving it to Marina further embedded the parure within the core royal family, connecting it to a new, glamorous generation.
And Princess Marina was quite a figure, wasn't she?
Very much so. Described as a beloved and respected figure. So giving her these significant sapphires was a mark of high esteem.
And it also served to strengthen ties, perhaps, between different royal houses.
Precisely. It symbolized royal unity, connecting the British royals with other European dynasties through this marriage and this important gift. It reinforced that network.
And Princess Marina wore them often, didn't she? Adding her own chapter to their story.
She did. She became closely associated with them, adding her own style and glamour.
So for a while, it seems the parure found a stable, prominent home with the Kents. But the story takes another turn later on.
Yes, unfortunately. The narrative shifts here to touch on the financial realities that even royals face.
What happened?
After Princess Marina inherited the parure, she and the Duke of Kent apparently face significant financial difficulties, as the biography puts it.
It's a reminder, isn't it, that even within royalty, economic pressures are real.
Very real. And these pressures had a direct impact on the Cambridge sapphires themselves. This is where things changed quite dramatically for the parure.
How so? What difficult decisions had to be made?
Well, in the latter part of the 20th century, faced these financial challenges, the family had to make some tough calls. This involved selling off quite a few valuable jewels.
And the Cambridge sapphires were part of that.
Sadly, yes. According to the source, much of the original Cambridge Sapphire Parure was sold during this period.
Oh, wow. So the complete set was broken up?
It was. And the pieces that did remain were then redesigned. They were transformed into new individual items of jewelry.
That's quite poignant. From this grand unified symbol to being dispersed and altered.
It really highlights the changing times, the pressures, the shifts in fortune, even within the monarchy.
So the original parure, as Princess Augusta knew it, or even as Princess Marina wore it, doesn't exist anymore in that form.
No, it doesn't. But the source is careful to note that the redesigned pieces, the remnants, still hold significant value, both monetary and, of course, historical.
It's a transformation that mirrors the changing fortunes of the royal family and the pressures they faced, as the source says, adapting to survive in a way.
Exactly. So even though it's not the grand set it once was, its story isn't over. What's the lasting significance now?
Well, despite everything the sales, the redesigns, the legacy of the Cambridge Sapphire Parure is still firmly rooted in the history of the British monarchy.
How so? What do the remaining pieces represent?
They serve as this poignant reminder, the source calls it, of the royal family's complex past, a history marked by both triumph and, well, adversity.
So they symbolize more than just wealth now.
Much more. They represent the sacrifices, the challenges, the adaptations, and those enduring family connections across centuries.
It's powerful how objects can absorb all that history, all those stories.
Absolutely. The Parure's journey is described as a testament to the resilience and adaptability of the royal family. These stones have seen it all.
Royal weddings, personal tragedies, they've been silent witnesses.
Right. And their continued existence, even altered, kind of underscores the persistence of the monarchy itself.
So even though the set isn't complete, the story still resonates. What are the main takeaways from this whole saga?
I think it's a story about, yes, love, loss, and the unbroken bond between family members, but also about the really complex, often difficult decisions involved in preserving heritage.
Especially when circumstances change.
Yeah.
And those decisions have a real impact down the line.
They do. The source concludes that as long as these remaining pieces are valued and their history remembered, the legacy of the sapphires will live on. A testament to tradition, but also to the spirit of survival within the monarchy.
It really is an incredible journey for a set of jewels. Makes you think about how objects gather meaning over time.
What really gets me is that contrast. You start with this image of timeless, unchanging royal grandeur, and then you uncover this very human story. Queen Mary's fierce determination, the later financial struggles. It adds so many layers.
It does.
And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? How do everyday objects, or even extraordinary ones like these, take on such huge significance when they get woven into history?
That's a great question. They become more than just things. They become symbols, carriers of memory.
And maybe what does the fact that the Parure was broken up and transformed tell us about how royalty itself adapts or has to adapt in the modern world?
Yeah, that evolution. Even seemingly fixed traditions face new realities. It's a tangible example of change within continuity.
Well, it's been fascinating tracing this story. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into really quite dramatic life of the Cambridge Sapphire Parure.
A pleasure.
And we hope you, listening, continue to look for those hidden histories all around us. They're often in the most beautiful and sometimes unexpected places.